A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn. Every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me. Piles so tall, they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.
Okay, we are live. Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out.
I am Marlicia from Marlicia's Meanderings.
But her handle is Marlicia Muses because that's just wants to make you work a little harder.
Yeah. Something else for you to remember.
Well, you couldn't decide which one you wanted, so you chose one for the channel, you chose the other one for your...
Well, I didn't know if I should, because Marlicia's Meanderings sounded weird for a tag, and then it would have to have been Marlicia Meanders. And I was like, well, that's still different. So...
But we are doing right now the self-help book tag. This is another one that I've heard by watching Gavin from Genre Books. It apparently is a new original tag from Alan at Alan Reads. So it begins like the information. I guess it talks about how self-help books are, very popular, and we're supposed to pick a fictional character's answer to each of the prompts below to help us.
Question: does the fictional character have to be a book, or can it be any fictional character?
We're doing booktube, so we probably should do a book.
But I'm not sure I can answer all the questions via book.
Well, comic book counts because that's a book.
Yeah, but still, we'll see.
I talk about comic books very occasionally on this channel, so no, comic book counts.
Not that I read a lot of comic books, but the characters are there.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, those are the prompts. Like you'll be doing a fictional character who you would choose to help you, or as an alternative, pick a fictional character who is the last person you'd ask for help with that prompt.
I might have to do that one for the first question.
Okay. So, learning a foreign language. Who would you choose to help you learn a new language or brush up on one you can already speak but not very well?
Let's you start.
Oh, okay. I was going to use you starting as giving myself a chance to think because I haven't looked at them either.
Well, why don't we think about it? We can brainstorm.
That's true. And also, I can always...
I don't really know of anybody that I read about who is really good at picking up foreign languages.
Well, and also, if you have someone who naturally does it well, it's not going to... That doesn't necessarily mean they're a good teacher.
Right.
So we'd have to think of a combination of someone who... either knows the language we want to know or knows the languages plus can teach. Now, I joked on Gavin's channel that you could almost answer Batman for almost every one of these because he speaks a ton.
He's Batman.
Well, he speaks a ton of languages, and obviously he knows how to teach because if you look at Nightwing, Dick's information on DC fandom, it mentions that he speaks a ton of language. Yeah. Where do you think he learned them?
No, but he's got already a proclivity for that from his own background. And also, I'm not sure I would want to be taught by Bruce Wayne anything.
Well, yeah, his way of
method of teaching.
Although when they showed him teaching Cassie how to fly, when they're being shot out of there, he actually did it really well. The boys are all yelling in the background for him to take over. He's like, okay, so... yes, you're being fired. Now we're going to move this way. So he's actually be really calm.
Maybe. That sounds like a exception to prove the rule. I don't want Batman teaching me anything.
Okay, so let's think about some other characters who, since apparently no go for Bruce teaching.
Not unless it's something you'd be taught in a calm manner. Maybe if what you say is correct, maybe if it's under stress, he's good.
Good point.
But if he's just teaching something, I've read too many things where he gets all upset with Dick. But no.
That's usually it's a personality thing, not dealing with teaching.
I don't care. Okay, I don't. I would rather have Alfred teach me.
Well, that's a farther down question that where Alfred would work.
No. I was talking about this part. I know, but
But for foreign language, although Alfred probably speaks a few from his days with MI5, I think he was with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you could even possibly, I don't know how many he speaks. It's not necessarily mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just got one.
Okay.
Not for this though.
Okay. Well, you would also choose who you would be the least person.
Well, that would be Batman. Actually, that's not fair to Bruce, but
No, it's really not.
I'm not sure who I would least want to.
I would think someone like.
I wish he was a book. Do you remember Inspector Clouseau, played by Steve Martin, in?
Oh yeah,
and he tries to learn how to speak French or English. No, he's trying to speak English, and he can't say the word hamburger because he's too big-headed.
Yeah.
That would be the person.
I wonder if that's a book.
I don't know. Maybe.
Now, like, I can see someone, for at least, someone like Hastings, who he's so insular that I can't imagine. I can see him being one of those people, those travelers, who just speaks English louder.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. Yes.
Can you see what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
I can just see him just trying to speak louder so you can be like, oh, you didn't understand me the first time. Well, maybe if I do it...
And slower.
Louder and slower. I think that he would be one of those people.
That's pretty funny.
Yes.
Okay.
So life is uncertain at the moment. Who would you choose to help you prepare for future eventualities? Who will teach you the survival skills you need? Do you see why I say that you could basically, if you're lazy, just answer Bruce for every single question?
My mind for this one went first to Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, I can agree with you.
Aragorn. Gandalf.
Survival, I wouldn't choose Gandalf. I would choose Aragorn.
Aragorn was my first
if you were to
choice.
go with that book.
Or even Boromir. Aragorn
I would say Aragorn before, because Boromir, he generally...
He's a little more emotional.
Yeah. Or Faramir. Faramir's a... he is a ranger, but in the other area. Like, okay, so when the kingdom of Gondor split...
Yeah.
You know, when you had Isildur's group go over here, and then the, you know, rest... The Númenórean split, excuse me. So, yeah. Faramir is a ranger in that area. Okay, what were you about to say?
Oh, no, I got to hold this in my mind because I have brain fog sometimes. I don't want to forget this person. But, no, I think Aragorn was my first choice for that.
And I also thought of possibly someone like Tiernan from Wolf Hunt.
Yes. Yeah. He's very good.
Now, granted, that's partially in wolf form, but I think he would be good regardless. I think he has an affinity for it, but I can see, honestly, I could agree with you on Aragorn.
Now, I know I keep straying a little bit to movies, but the one I thought about, they're both Tom Cruise characters. Mission Impossible, Ethan Hunt, but even more specifically, in Night and Day. What was his name? Roy.
Yeah.
Because remember he taught her about how to break the hold and all that kind of... It was very...
That's more of the...
survival.
They're self-defense in a different area.
Oh, okay.
You're taking
survival and self-defense.
But when you think
survival.
When you think survival...
Okay, well, if you're going survival, then I would say Legolas.
You see, the reason why Aragorn also just survives off in the wilderness, which is... That's why I agreed with you with Aragorn.
So does Legolas.
Legolas is in his...
He's in his element, but he can do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Almost elves can do it. But the reason I think survival with Aragorn is, for one thing, he's constantly on the run.
Tony Stark.
Yes, because as Matt Murdock said to another character, you can drop Tony naked in a wilderness, and he could get his way out of there.
Tony Stark, yep. So we're apparently not doing one person. Okay.
Well, no, of course not. Because we're arguing about it.
No.
So,
we're not arguing.
We're discussing. We need, because there's two people, we're going to also do both. We're going to answer both options. Now, who would be your least? Hastings can't be chosen again.
Why not? For survival skills?
Yes.
You know who we forgot for survival skills?
What?
Katniss.
Yes.
Katniss.
Absolutely, Katniss.
Katniss. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yep. How do we
Absolutely.
forget Katniss?
You would also do her buddy from home, Gale.
Oh, Gale. Yeah,
Because
I
they
don't
both-
like Gale.
But he would count.
Yeah, he would count. Mhm.
But yeah, Katniss. Now, who would I prefer to teach me?
Cat-
Aragorn.
Yes.
And not just because, he's Aragorn, but because I think
Yeah,
he'd be
he's
a better
Aragorn.
teacher.
Well, he's Aragorn. Just be honest, he's Aragorn. Okay.
But honestly, I do think he'd be a better teacher.
I do think he will be.
Now, to be fair to Katniss, she's a lot younger.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. Also, if you consider the fact that Aragorn is quite a bit older than he looks,
Mm-hmm.
so he's been around a long time.
Yes, he has. Almost 100 years.
Yes.
So let's see. Now, what we're talking about?
We were trying to do the least.
Oh, the least.
I can't see Poirot surviving out anywhere. He's got to have his patent leather shoes. He's got to have his mustaches taken care of.
Those mustaches, and he must have his dust brush.
Well, he doesn't even like even going out in the country in the car.
No.
He muffles up.
Yep. And no windows open. And
no
the car
windows.
must be covered.
I mean,
No,
for
no.
Hastings to get him in the country when he had to do
Mal de Mer. The water.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he just doesn't travel well.
At all.
At
I mean,
all.
can you imagine him having to survive?
I mean, I love Poirot.
But that's
is
not
one of my
his
favorite
area of
characters.
strength.
It's not his area of strength.
So as we picked on Hastings in last one, I actually think Hastings would do better in survival.
I
If
think
it became
he might.
Poirot.
He
He
might,
would do
yeah.
better than Poirot.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Survival, yeah. I'm trying to think who really in my books.
So who else? Well, because you can basically think of any character who's really used to.
A pampered life.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of someone who. I don't think Lord Peter Wimsey could survive.
Oh no! Well,
Well,
he was
but
a
he
soldier.
Was in the war. He was in the war.
Part of his problem now, he puts on a certain. He's just odd.
The thing is, he also has these
PTSD.
PTSD episodes. But I'm doing him a disfavor.
Yes.
I'm doing him. Yeah, Yeah.
No, I
take that back.
Yeah. Just like you could. Yeah, you'd have to. I pick on Poirot but I think it's just Poirot would have problems. But
Well,
when
if you put him in the city, survival, I think he'd be okay.
Oh yeah.
Because we're saying survival, and we're thinking wilderness. If he's in the city, he could do it.
He still won't be very happy if there's too much dust in his patent leather shoes
and the air, it has to be. But he likes the city air, not the country air.
Yes, there's something wrong with the country air apparently.
Now,
he's definitely a city boy.
although I wouldn't mind having Sherlock Holmes teach me. I mean, I think he could teach me. I'm not sure if I would
Want him as
to.
a teacher. Yeah. I would rather have Watson as a teacher than but for so far I think Strider's winning.
Yeah, but we keep kind of glossing over the people we don't.
So Strider's winning for I want you to teach. For not wanting to teach.
Poirot right now.
Right now, Poirot is winning because I'm trying to think of someone else. I mean, I guess you wouldn't want Lady Catherine de Bourgh to teach you how to survive out anywhere.
I don't know who that is.
She's Darcy's aunt who
right,
Mr.
yes,
Collins
yes,
is
I remember.
always mentioning. Oh, Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
I'm new to Jane Austen. I know I remember reading that, but I don't have it all set in my head yet. So
I mean, I guess you wouldn't want Mr. Collins. I don't think Mr. Collins would survive very well either.
No.
Whereas I think Charlotte would just do fine.
To a point.
Well, obviously, but some people I wouldn't say
she could learn.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Charlotte teach me, but I would say Charlotte would figure it out.
Yeah, but that's not what they're asking.
No, it's not. But I'm saying I wouldn't put her on least, for example.
No.
Because I want to make a point that even if it's characters from a novel where survival's not the issue, that doesn't mean that character couldn't learn. I think Mr. Collins would have issues learning.
Well, that's the same. I think Poirot could learn. He wouldn't like it, but he could learn it. Okay, so all right. What's next?
Okay. So next one is everyone should be able to cook at least one outstanding meal. Who would you choose to help you plan and prepare that meal?
I need to do this first because this is the one that came into my head for not.
Yeah.
Éowyn.
Oh, I'm sure she knows how to.
No, Aragorn.
That's a movie.
Well, they're still
Yeah, I
they're still-
don't.
they made a point. I think that that's a valid point, considering she's such into being a shield maiden and all that kind of stuff, that she wouldn't have that much time. She's also not in that state where
You got to remember, she took care of her uncle.
that doesn't mean she cooked for him. It means she fed him. It doesn't mean she cooked for him.
Because I would push back on that a little bit, because the movie did it for comic relief.
Oh, I agree. I do.
And so I don't know that's fair to Eowyn.
But no, because nobility didn't do that.
It depends. That she's in a different culture.
It's based on that time period. They had people who were kings and queens and princesses had servants to do that. She wouldn't have cooked. She would have served possibly, but she wouldn't have cooked. I really don't think she would have. And since they made it a point in the movie to make that, I think that's a valid assumption. But
I do want to mention I wouldn't have him teach me cook, but I do want to give Poirot his.
I was going to say that.
Was it souffle that he taught?
No, it was an omelet.
That's what we don't want it to teach us. That lady who had to teach that. Okay, so
with all the dogs,
Mrs. McGinty's
Mrs.
dead.
McGinty's dead. Yeah.
The host, the woman who rents rooms out to Poirot, you do not want her to teach
or
you to
clean
cook.
or anything.
Yes, she can't teach you, and she's a sweet lady.
She's beautifully sweet.
She's wonderful. Don't let her teach you to cook.
Mm-mm.
Half the time, she doesn't know if it's bad.
Unless it's an omelet.
Poirot taught her the omelet.
omelet.
And the little girl in Cat Among the Pigeons said that at least she made a good omelet.
Yes. No, she said she made the best omelet. And Poirot said he taught her that.
Yes. So that's the only thing she can make. Do not let her teach you.
Yes. Alfred should teach us.
Alfred could absolutely
teach us to cook. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think.
That's why when you mentioned Alfred earlier, I'm like, there's room for him later.
Well, some of these people can be multiple.
Oh, yeah. Some of these people can be multiple. And I feel like there's a character who's like floating on the edges of my consciousness who is like surprisingly a good cook, or like it's a part of their character.
Well, you know who probably is an excellent cook, along with everything else he does, is 007 James Bond. Because he does everything.
I would love him to be like this awful cook.
That would be great.
Like he can't boil water kind of cook.
That would be awesome. But he does it because,
I would love that.
Because he's 007, he does everything perfectly. It comes with a number.
Do you think that because like Captain America got ups, he knows how to cook?
No.
Or like because Superman's like super at everything, like because he's super cook.
Because he said everything was boiled when he was.
That's true.
So no, that's not what I'm saying. 007 just seems that he could do everything.
Yeah.
You know, he can teach us. He can answer all these questions.
I've heard, I think it is comic canon, that Lois can't cook.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Because she always takes out.
Yeah, she always does take out.
Yeah, she does. She always does. That's very true.
So if only for survival, Clark has to know how to cook. But he might just go to Ma Kent.
Mm-hmm. And cook.
He could just fly there.
And she could teach us the home food.
Nice home. Yes. Alfred, more the nice, elevated cuisine. And then you have Ma Kent.
With possibility of Superman's mother taking a thing once in a while.
That's Ma Kent.
Oh, I can't. No, I was thinking of Spider-Man's mom.
No, you mean Aunt May. I've never heard that much about Aunt May's cooking. Well, whereas they emphasize Ma Kent.
It's true that they've made her younger in renditions, but in the older ones, you're right. They don't have her doing. She was so frail. I don't know if she can cook.
Yeah, they don't. That's not really a character aspect they emphasize for Ma Kent. They emphasize Alfred. They emphasize.
Can Mary Jane cook?
I don't know.
I have my doubts.
I'm not completely sure, and I'm not up enough on
I'm not either.
Spider-Man where I would know that. Now,
I don't think Elektra can cook.
No, she also comes from, depending on
she's higher up.
Which story. Yeah, she comes from a higher background. But again, depends on who wrote the background. Mm-hmm. I want to say Frank Miller might have changed. There were a couple people. There have been different renditions of what her background is. If she's in the upper background, she probably didn't have to. Mm-hmm. But I think if he troubled himself to, Matt Murdock would be amazing with his senses.
Oh, yeah, senses, yeah.
But whether or not he does.
Except that he might want everything so low that other people might not like it as much.
Mm-hmm. It all depends also on his preferences. Mm-hmm. But, I think in spite of our meandering, I think we did come up with our answers pretty early. Yeah. The one lady from Mrs. McGinty's Dead absolutely no. She's like the polar opposite of Ma Kent and Alfred. Do not let her anywhere near a kitchen. She can be a nice lady taking care of the dogs and just being nice.
Not anything that needs to be organized, because she just drops this here and she drops that there and she doesn't clean this. And
she means so well.
Oh, she's sweet.
But don't let her cook. You know who's actually, I wouldn't have Katniss teach, but Katniss can, like, because Katniss can make things, granted, part of that's survival. How do we forget Sam?
Oh my gosh.
Well, how do we forget Sam Gamgee?
Sam was going to show up later in my thoughts anyway.
How do we forget Sam?
I love Sam. Sam Gamgee.
For shame. Okay. So.
Potatoes. Boil them, bake them, or whatever. Put them in a stew.
Boil them, mash them, put them in a stew.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Number 4. Life is tough and unpredictable, and you should be able to defend yourself. Who would you choose to teach you some basic self-defense? Can you see why I said Batman every single question?
Aragorn can do this.
True. The reason I say Batman over Aragorn is Batman has a huge variety of martial arts skills that might not be a part of Aragorn's culture.
But Ethan Hunt might have it.
Ethan Hunt might have it.
James
I
Bond.
think Ethan would be a good teacher. I don't know about James Bond.
No, James Bond.
Roy from Night and Day.
Yes, that's the other thing. I love him, and that's.
But that's a movie though, and so is Ethan. So we can't touch those.
I don't know if Mission Impossible's been made into books.
I don't know, but I can't verify that, so we can't use them. But you could. James Bond is a book, but I wouldn't want him to teach me.
Yeah.
Not to mention we're female and Bond and women and all that.
Yeah.
So. No.
Let's see.
So far.
But I think for teaching purposes, we said Aragorn. I think also Boromir, who's very much Faramir, of course, but Boromir is very much a protective kind of person.
But it doesn't mean he's a good teacher.
I think you saw how he taught the hobbits.
Movie.
But it's in the book.
No, it's not. That's not in the book.
I have to go check and I don't believe you.
I read it recently. That's not in the book.
There's got to be something about the relationship.
They wanted to put more emphasis on Boromir, and they're trying to build some things up.
I haven't read the books in a while, so I've seen the movies more recently than I've read the books. But I know he was putting them on the shoulders or carrying them or whatever in the snow and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure that he would be a good teacher. I'm trying to think who else. I think Gandalf is a little too short-tempered.
I agree with you there.
I think Xavier would be a good teacher.
You see, I would actually put Wolverine over Xavier.
Wolverine would be a good teacher.
And not to mention, we're not just talking about teachers, we're talking about self-defense.
Right.
So it's not just good teacher. We gotta add good teacher plus self-defense.
If you're doing self-defense, Wolverine's really good.
And also,
Scott is pretty good.
But my argument again for Wolverine is, I think of him with Kitty Pryde. I think of
all
him,
his girls,
and not in like a creepy way.
No. His girls that he teaches.
I mean, other than Jean Grey, who he's had a hankering over, but like he's like he actually taught Kitty self-defense. She is a martial artist because of him.
Yeah. I would agree with Wolverine. I would agree with Wolverine.
So now, if you wanted to move away from comic books,
graphic novels, please.
Graphic novels. I think you could possibly look at Frank from Quadrail.
Yes.
Would you agree? Possibly.
Possibly.
We haven't really seen that from him, so I will agree that we could have gone survival for, what's his name? McMiking.
Oh, I like him.
McMiking could have been survival. McMiking could probably be self-defense.
Oh, I like him. Yeah,
and I do think that man could teach.
I need to revisit that book. The thing is, if I get into that series, I won't.
Yeah, you can't just read one.
Yeah.
But other than
Obi-Wan Kenobi,
and that is books.
Obi-Wan. Yep.
So.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Have we hit everyone? I feel like I'm missing some.
I know I'm missing somebody.
Okay, now who would you not have teach you? Now, we already said Bond.
I'm not sure how I'd feel about Batman teaching me, honestly.
Again, he's taught a ton.
He has, but that doesn't mean I want him teaching me.
If I want to learn to do it well.
Yes, I can get
And
that.
he taught children and didn't
Mhm.
He's been made rougher in some of the later ones. I love.
Yeah.
I saw a panel from a con where you see all the Justice League talking in a corner. I'm not sure if like a kid went missing or something, and there's other kids there, and Bruce is crouched down next to the kid.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was really, I don't know what comic it was, which not graphic novel it was, but you got to think about it. He deals with kids probably more than everyone else.
Well, he has a soft spot for kids, but I wouldn't want Ollie to teach me.
No, I wouldn't. Ollie gets dramatic anyway. Now you could have Dinah.
And this is these are graphic novels.
Yeah.
We're getting a little away from the
Black Canary, or honestly, Diana.
Diana would be good.
Because
Wonder Woman.
Now you are dealing with extra strength with that. Why I would say maybe Dinah for us versus Diana, normal woman's strength, and also a very high level martial artist. So you're dealing with someone who
she had a really good teacher.
She learned from multiple, including the person who partially taught her was
I know.
Wildcat.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of his name.
I was starting to do like punching motions because he's a boxer. Wildcat. So you could argue that. A lot of times if I'm going to go self-defense, I am going to lean more graphic novel because that's most of the people I'm going to think of that.
Yeah.
And I can think of various different directions you can go for that. But yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's somebody that took
now, actually, if you wanted someone who maybe wasn't as blunt as Bruce, Nightwing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been involved with Damien's training. Mm-hmm. I know he was involved with Tim's. Jason was already gone for the most. Jason wasn't around the most part. Not to mention Jason hated Dick. So
Jason had issues.
Jason was jealous.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't all he was.
But yeah, so.
All right, let me think. I think that
we didn't hit anyone else for least.
Yeah, least. I'm trying to think about least because it would have to be someone completely inept. And like I said, if we knew about Clouseau, if he was a book, if the Pink Panther were books.
I want Poirot in physical self-defense.
No, but I think he knows other ways because not all defense is self-defense.
Well, it does say self-defense. That's what this says. This says it's
No, I'm saying it doesn't have to be physical to be self-defense.
Yeah. I don't think he's always necessarily able to. I always think of him as particularly vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, physical things are concerned. He uses his brain.
He does, but there's been a couple of times where it's become an issue where he is a more vulnerable, person, or like a Miss Marple. Where
you wouldn't ask them to teach you.
No, but yeah. So if I was to go least, I wish I could think of someone who's like. They're in a self-defense kind of position and they just stink at it.
Well, I'm trying to think of like on the I forgot, this is what I wanted to hold on. I forgot to teach me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Splinter.
Splinter, yes. Mm-hmm. Splinter. Yes.
Now
not Raph.
Well, also besides not Raph, believe it or not, I wouldn't choose Clark Kent because Bruce has said this many times that if Clark didn't have his abilities, he wouldn't have the fighting self-defense skills. And it's actually, he's mentioned where it's actually even been maybe a good thing that Clark doesn't have that because he would be even more, he would actually be very more dangerous. Because that's where actually Diana, I think, is to a certain extent has that over on Clark because she's got all the different powers that she has that, it's not going to be up to Clark's level, but then she has the extreme self-defense skills,
but the thing
coming from a warrior background.
Yeah, the thing is, if she had, like her and Clark, she's going to lose anyway because.
But she might know where to throw him off balance because she knows where to strike. She knows tactics in a way that he wouldn't have grown up with them. She's grown up as a a warrior type. So I wouldn't. Clark is a sweetheart, but I wouldn't necessarily choose him to teach me self-defense just because I'm not sure that it would help me what he could teach because he always has his strength behind him. Whereas I would choose Cap.
Yes.
Cap
Oh,
has
definitely
Cap has
yeah.
taught multiple
Oh,
people.
definitely Cap.
He's taught Hawkeye. He's like
Well,
he taught Mary Jane. He
yes.
taught Mary Jane.
Even Widow. I mean,
I don't know.
For a woman.
I wouldn't choose Comic Widow because
Oh, okay.
I would choose Cap no matter what.
Where? Yeah.
Because in the comics he taught Clint. In the comics he taught Mary Jane Watson. Actually, Mary Jane Parker at the time. He taught, like, you can run down the line a bunch of comic people. Oh, Cap taught them. Cap taught them. Cap taught them.
Now, Bucky is interesting because he was always kind of a mentor. He was younger in the comics, but
yeah, I don't base your Bucky stuff off of the movies at all,
yeah.
and I don't know Bucky well enough in the comics to. Bucky's also still very messed up, so I wouldn't make a decision on Bucky.
Yeah.
You
wouldn't want someone like Punisher, even though he can. He would be a toss up because
I think particularly for saying it was you and I. Frank would make sure we knew how to defend ourselves. He would 100% make sure we knew how to defend ourselves. And surprisingly, I think Frank would make sure that we would not feel like we had to kill unless...
No, he wouldn't. No.
Because he
doesn't let Daredevil do it.
On occasion, he'll...
Well, no.
They have a very complex way.
You can see we have some heavy leanings toward graphic novels.
But, yes. But particularly when you're dealing with self-defense kind of argument.
It lends
itself... Because we don't read a whole lot in the way of necessary action-packed novels.
Yeah, unless you go toward Star Trek or Star Wars
but
or some of the Timothy Zahn
if you're
stuff.
Dealing with Star Wars, again, I wouldn't necessarily... The only one in that group I think I would choose is Mara. Because Luke... He's learned a lot, but a lot of his stuff is force-based. Whereas Mara's actually picked on him a bit for for leaning too much on the force. And then, I'm sorry, I want to have Han teach me self-defense.
No.
I think he's a little one note with his stuff.
Obi-Wan can.
But again, very force-based. I don't know what he's like without the force.
Yeah.
Mara, I know 100% can do it without the force.
And Han is just too emotional.
And also, I don't think that's Han's skill set.
What do you think of Talon Card?
I was thinking survival.
Yeah.
For Talon, I don't necessarily know his self-defense? Mistral.
Yes.
What's her name?
Yes. No, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of her name. You're not talking about Winter, are you? No.
No.
The other.
She shows up in the second.
She's that one with the
dual. She's Mistral.
Yeah.
Mistral warrior. Yes. Her name begins with an S.
I can't remember. It's been a while since
it'll come up to me later.
Yeah.
But her.
Yes.
Now, I do think she could, because she taught the younger one.
Yeah, and she has honor.
She does.
Yeah.
So I would say, to go back to Mara, I know she taught the solo kids some, because
before they went to Luke.
She taught them at least in self-defense, the actual physical stuff, because she was very big on, you don't just lean on the force. What if you lose access to it? Because both she and Luke have lost access to it because of those little creatures. So, yes, if you want to go books, and Mara is purely books, so you can't even say like, oh, that's cheating, that goes... No, Mara's purely books. They thank goodness haven't managed to pull her into the mess they've made of Star Wars.
Yeah, don't get us started there. All right.
So, okay, yes. So, and actually we even chose a not for Han. Because I don't think Han's a survivor.
Han is a survivor.
But I wouldn't say he can use the gun to defend himself.
Not
but
Lando.
Lando actually, not for self-defense.
No, he's a survivor.
But he can talk his way out of just about... Lando... You knock him down, he picks himself up and keeps... Like, he's like a cockroach or something.
That's true.
Oh, poor Dapper Lando.
Dapper Lando, yeah. Well, he would, yeah.
We just hurt his feelings.
Yes, well, we can make it up to him later.
But the thing is, he'll be utterly charming about it. Okay, so we did self-defense. Life can be chaotic times. Who would you like to teach you mindfulness or relaxation? Okay, we can say or not. That's not Batman.
Not Batman.
Like I told you, you could almost answer Bruce
not
for every
Batman.
single one of these.
No, not Batman.
But, okay, so relaxation. A particularly calm character. Someone who...
the first thing that pops into my mind isn't really someone who could teach it to you because she's kind of forced to do it. Is Beth from Little Women.
And also just your personality.
But it is, but you can learn from someone's personality.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. That's the first one that popped in my head because it's not something we gravitate toward.
And I think what'll help is, if you think of someone who's thrown into chaotic situations again and again, and you can tell it's had to be a learned skill.
See, this is one why I would even maybe think of Splinter. Mm-hmm. Because he has them meditate and he has them, in that way Batman does too.
Actually, you know what? Luke.
Yes. Luke or Mara.
I wouldn't choose
Obi-Wan.
I would pick Luke because that's definitely something he's worked on, and it's noticeable about his character as he develops through the books that he does give this calm essence. And Mara can eventually, but she tries to get under his skin.
Yeah. I think that Obi-Wan is a good choice for that too, because he talks about why Darth Vader became Darth Vader, and he's also learned to.
And he is more recently in some of the later, but the reason I haven't been picking him as much for things is because in the universe that I'm used to being in Star Wars, he's already dead. So
because you're reading the extended universe.
Because reading the extended universe, he's already dead. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna pick someone that.
My concern about Luke is his affinity for the dark side of the Force.
Right, and now he has actually a lot of his calmness has been learned, and I think he can teach that. Now doesn't mean it's something that he doesn't have to struggle with. I wouldn't have Leia teach me.
No.
But I'm trying to think who else would be considered someone who has, well, you know what? Marmee. Because she actually has had to work on.
Yes, you see her with her.
Now, it's more patience than it is relaxation. So maybe that's not right. Luke, I would say some relaxation.
That's a hard one.
Or mindfulness.
Yeah, that's a hard.
Because you also have mindfulness as well, which I would argue.
Hastings.
I'm not sure I would agree with that.
I do. He tries to get Poirot to relax. He tries to. I think
not in the books. He doesn't.
Yeah, in one of the books, one of the reasons they're going to a place is to relax.
Okay, well, let's put it this way: it's not his. That's not what he usually does. Usually, if you read him in narration, his feelings are hurt. It's this it's that. He is not the most relaxed character.
Well, they didn't say that he relaxed.
He would not be someone I'd be like, teach me how your ways, O master.
What would you like to learn? Wait a minute. Who would teach mindfulness and relaxation? Maybe Father Brown.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
Chesterton's Father Brown.
I can see that.
Or even Brother Cadfael, but I think more Father Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Brother Cadfael could teach you things about the herbs and things like that. But, I could see Father Brown.
Yeah, I think Father Brown would be my choice.
But
definitely Father Brown.
Yeah, because it's, when you're going through some of these novels where things are more chaotic, it's hard to find someone who not only is that spot of kind of calm there, but they can teach it, which is why I had gone to Luke.
I think Father Brown's. That's where I would go, Father Brown.
So, alrighty, free choice. What else would you like to learn to do, and which fictional character is going to teach you how?
Okay, this. I mean, I think I know how to do this, but I would like to know how to do it better. And my person is Sam Gamgee.
Okay, now what do you want to learn?
How to be the loyal friend. How to be
not his gardening skill.
That too, but that's secondary. His loyalty, his steadfastness, his courage that he doesn't even know he has.
You see, he wouldn't be able to teach that because it's innate to him, and he doesn't think he has all those things.
Well, he can't teach me the gardening skills. I think he can teach you how to be a loyal friend.
I think you almost would have to observe him versus ask him to teach you.
Well, that doesn't mean that he's not teaching.
No, but I just wanted to say, if you were going to ask the character to teach you, Sam wouldn't understand, what are you talking about? You know, he doesn't, he wouldn't see it the way we see it.
That may be, but I think that there's that. I think even by example.
But if you were, they say...
If you want to go strictly by asking him, I have to think about it a little bit more. Stop that.
So, what would I have a character teach me if I could? Because it could be something as silly as I want them to teach me to dance.
Yeah, I was thinking about music.
Because if you want to have Beth teach you piano, or
Joe teach you to write. Well, no, Joe doesn't have enough writing skills.
No, she does. And also I don't know that Joe would be the best teacher. I would choose Mr. Barrett for a teacher before I would. Now, to be fair to her, she was more like a governess than she was like more of a babysitter kind of thing.
I would love to, if it was an ability. I don't know. To me, when I think of someone like Gandalf or anything like that, that is something that's innate. You can't be taught.
No, and also he's something completely different. He is not even human.
Right.
Like he's not of this. I was going to say not of this world. Yes, he's not Middle Earth either.
No,
he's
from somewhere else.
Yeah, so he can't teach what he is, but like a special skill. I would like to learn some of the I don't know. A lot of things I think I want to learn from Mike are considered technically survival things, but. And he's from the Quadrille series, but that's one who does a lot of languages is Frank. I'd forgotten about him. He speaks several of the different alien languages.
Right, that's right. The main character.
The main character, Frank. I'd forgotten about that.
I need to go back and reread it.
But
maybe ask PETA how to bake. I like PETA.
Yeah, I can see that.
How to bake bread. I can bake. I just don't know if I can bake
bread.
So, he would be kind of, ask him his family ran a bakery.
Yeah.
How to make the best breads and cookies and cakes and stuff like that. I do passably well with cookies and cakes and things, but bread,
And I'm still thinking through what, and now he just poached in on Alfred's territory with the cooking there.
Yeah, but that's baking specifically, though.
Yeah, it is baking specifically.
And I'm not saying, and I still have other things. I just can't think. I'm just trying to think of characters. I had a hard time when I saw that question.
Yeah, because I printed them off and I didn't think about it again afterwards because I wanted an organic conversation about this.
Yeah, when you get this kind of, wow, is that how much time we're spending on this one? Oops.
I might have to stop it and come back because we can't do over an hour before it will cut us off. Yeah. Is there a character who is amazing at art or something that you would want to learn from?
With that, a lot of stuff like you said that I want to learn is like archery from Legolas, or
he could probably teach you and that wouldn't necessarily fall purely under self-defense, because when we were talking self-defense, we were talking about the whole range. You could just say, I want to learn archery specifically.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the only thing I want to learn. So it's a hard question. I don't want to just choose one thing.
Well, you guys might have a conversation later. And
theology from Father Brown.
What about Brother Cadfael's herb lore?
Oh, now that would be interesting.
That would be fun. Now, granted, it is going to be affected somewhat by his medieval point of view. They used to think of things looked like a certain thing that would, but he seems to be pretty accurate with some things that he chooses. So yeah, I think maybe the herb lore from Brother Cadfael could be cool.
And even how to do the herb gardens.
Yeah.
That would transfer.
Yes, that would transfer. And he does a lot of their planting type things. He does the medicinal type care they do at the time. Yes.
I want Dick to teach me how to be a trapeze artist. That would be Nightwing, Robin.
Yes, the original Robin. Yeah. Dick Grayson. So, yeah.
I wonder if Amy March could teach me to draw.
She might be. I think Amy would be good at that, to be quite honest with you. I think she could do it.
Yeah.
Because I think once she got older, I think she had the patience for it.
Yeah, she was very genteel.
Yes. I think she could do it. Honestly, she had a lot more patience. You saw as she aged how she handled things. She actually calmed down.
Joe.
Well, how she handled when someone purposely tried to hurt her. But yeah, no, I agree with Amy about the art. I think she'd be good at that.
Probably should end on that note since it's almost an hour.
Yeah, and I wish I could think of something else cool as well, but yeah, I think we've covered.
Yeah. Do you not have anything?
I mean, I guess I came up with ideas for yours, but
There's those are very open-ended questions and a lot of fun to discuss, but we don't want to keep you here ad nauseum.
yeah, yeah.
Because this is her channel, so if she wants to keep you here ad nauseum, that's her business.
And I guess I didn't think over any of this ahead of time. So, I wish there was a character who could teach me like memory stuff. What?
What's his name? About tea. The grandfather.
Oh, but he's not books.
Yes, he is. He's anime books.
He's not. They didn't originate in anime books. I don't know if they transferred to anime or not. They might have. They have at least one. I don't know how much he figures in it though.
If he figures in it that much,
Uncle Iroh,
Tidor.
But remember, for his world.
Yeah, but he mentions a certain one all the time. We know it too. I forget what it is.
Oh, yes, he does.
It wasn't Earl Grey. What was it?
No, it wasn't. I can't remember. But yeah, I was hoping if there's someone who had like tricks for memory.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like Luke who uses the Force to remember. No. Like, no, someone, Sherlock Holmes probably does.
Oh, he probably does, yeah.
Although he purposely doesn't remember some things.
Well, no,
he chooses to forget things that aren't necessary.
Like there are nine planets.
Yes.
And yes, I said 9. I do not concur with the fact that Pluto is not a planet. So, okay.
Now, if I'm missing someone else from memory, and I probably am, I feel like I am. But you also have to struggle with, okay, does this character naturally have a good memory?
Right.
I know there are characters who they work hard at. Like, they've developed ways to remember things. But he's the main person I think of. Although he also references books as well.
Absolutely.
And his thing is he specializes in everything.
Writes monographs on them.
Yes, he does.
How to write a monograph.
I'm also not sure how good of a teacher he'd be.
No, I'm not sure either.
Now, to be fair, Book Holmes is a lot more chill than any of the movie Holmes. The movie Holmes,
although the show Holmes isn't too bad.
Most of the film adaptations of Holmes make him almost like have no idea what social behavior should be.
Although Downey Jr. does a good job of humanizing him a little bit. I felt so bad for him.
But he still doesn't quite get it.
Get it? No, well,
a lot of modern adaptations of Holmes just don't understand him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that that will be that. Because I'm trying to think of anyone else, and it's I wish I could.
Miss Marple teach how to knit.
I don't need Miss Marple to teach me how to knit.
I could use her help.
You have someone in the house who can help you knit.
Yeah, but they said a character. You're not a fictional character.
You don't need her help you learn how to knit.
I already know how to knit a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's it. I'll probably think of like 20 people as soon as I stop, or think of another cool thing I want to learn.
Ariadne Oliver for writing.
I don't think she should teach it. I think I think writing is really something you have to feel.
I think you're right, because when we write, we don't do it by...
Yeah, I think writing is something you have to feel. But like, I want Sherlock Holmes to teach me violin. Even though I'm not musical, I love the violin.
I do like the violin.
And I don't have an ear for it, nothing. But I would want him to teach me violin. Okay, I think that covers.
You sure? We still have we still have 11 minutes before an hour.
I think we should say goodbye now.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of anyone else. And so, yep, we are headed out. Thank you very much for joining us. This ended up being quite long, but with 2 people, it does that. And also we had to think up things on the fly.
I don't think mine is this long.
Oh, no. Well, because we weren't trying to think of characters.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
We can talk about that after.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. God bless. Bye.
Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.